Raised actually in the big town of Bland, Missouri. Many of you here probably know my mom and dad, Maxie and Earlene Vincent. Wilbur was my uncle, Charlie Vincent was my grandpa. So that kind of gives you a little bit of history of who I am. Nobody recognizes the name Barnes, but my husband is from the Numala area on the other side of Washington, and he went to the Washington High School. So my parents were not into antiques, so this is not something Dad and Mom would have had in their house. As far as antiques are concerned, when my husband and I first got married, we kind of evolved in that together. First thing we started collecting was oak furniture. Many of you probably have oak dressers, oak bedroom sets in your home today. We do not own oak anymore. We've kind of been evolved into more of a higher end, high country they call it. And so the pieces that we have in our home have the original finishes on them. They would have been from the 1800s, early 1900s. So when you walk into Honeysuckle Antiques on First Street, you're walking into a true antique shop. It's not a flea market. We do very little collectibles there. It's 18 and 1900s. What we brought today, and I'm going to turn these lights on just so they're a little bit, because it's very dark in here. These are called wall boxes and utility totes. Another name for the utility totes are knife boxes. Another name for the wall boxes actually is candle boxes. And if you guys were, I've seen a lot of you up here looking, and there's even some back here. Right away you realize, wow, what a diverse way, because each one is totally different. And that's the true thing about antiques. It's one item that was made. It wasn't duplicated 100 times the same way. This box was made one time. This box was made one time. Mama, she wanted a prettier one. Well, then she said, go get some walnut. Let's get a more elevated one. And what these boxes would hold on your wall would actually be candlesticks primarily, because these boxes were made when electricity wasn't had yet. This would have been even before lanterns were used. So candles would be laid in here. They would be easy access to grab one, to light it, to be able to walk through the home, or to put out on your table or whatever. So they are a wide variety. This one here, going back to a wall box, totally different. You can see it's way more primitive, way more rougher, rustic. And you notice at the top, it's got the little slots. That's because at this time, they would actually put knives down in here. So that way the kids couldn't get a hold of them. It was up, out of the way. Rest of the utensils maybe was down in here. Either that or napkins, whatever they wanted to do. Another example is this one here. So you got your drawer at the bottom. So maybe Mama didn't want the matches exposed. So that would be, the matches would be put in here. And sometimes they would even put pipes in here. So the gentleman of the house, if he was a pipe smoker, would put his pipes up here. His matches, possibly even his tobacco, would be in the bottom drawer. So all these things were used in a home. And this one here is pretty unique. This one is, and most of the wall boxes here are out of my private collection. But this one here, notice the curve, very high end. This is actually from Pennsylvania. It's got brass hinges on it, and the curved top makes it very, very unusual. But again, this would have actually held candles. And it's just interesting because now we're sticking them in a drawer and hunt for them when we need them, right? They knew where their candles were. They didn't have electricity. They needed to know where they were at. So that's kind of interesting. They can be made out of walnut, mahogany, oak, pine. Basically, whatever the household had, that's what they used. Unlike our throwaway society, they used what they had and used their make-dos. On the knife boxes, this one here is the mahogany one, first one I ever had. And notice all the detail at the top. So this lady of the house wanted a nicer thing. And when I call this a knife box, it's also a utility tote or utensil tote. So when I say utensils, believe it or not, back in the 17 and 1800s, very early, if you were invited to my house for a meal, you had to bring your own utensils. That household did not have enough utensils to serve a big meal. So you would carry your utensils into this home that you were invited to eat, and your utensils would be in your box, which I find really fascinating because Today we got plastic forks and knives when we ain't got enough. But anyway, that's kind of interesting. This one here, again, showing the diverse way they do it. Notice the lip all the way around it, just makes it look, you know, a little bit more unique. And this is made out of walnut. And this handle curves to the hand real easy, so it makes it very easy to carry. So that is knife boxes. On this little wall box, you notice at the top, you got a slot here. They probably put a knife up here. A good knife would have been probably displayed up here. Possibly one even that the gentleman of the house hand carved the knife handle or whatever, but that's where that would be at. And then again, they would have candles in the bottom, possibly matches, just whatever. And you can tell I can talk a lot. So if anybody has any questions, just ask me. On this one here, I love it. I love the mustard paint. I love the green paint. Way more decorative, huge. And then the box opens up. So even on something like this, especially with a lid on the top, they might have even had their spices and stuff put in it. That way they were protected and rodents or whatever couldn't get into it. But I think that one's really unique just because of the fact that it does have the paint on it. This one over here is a little unusual because it's actually, and even though it's faded, you can see Mama wanted some stenciling on the front. So Mom might have did it herself, and then it has a very early hanger hand forged on the back. So it wasn't all wood. They would even make it with metal, and this is probably something that was out in the shed, and then that would be displayed. But how easy, can you imagine having this on a log wall or even some wood like this and have your candles in here so it was real easy just to go grab them and light them up for the evening. So on the knife trays again, as you can see, this one here, simple gray paint, no finger holes on this one. They just made it solid for whatever reason in the middle. And they would have their knives in here, their forks, their spoons. And one of these little beauties on here is actually from Gasconade County. It came from Herman, Missouri on a farm, and it was in a barn. And this farmer had his nuts and his bolts and his screws and stuff in it. Anybody want to take a gander? Which one of these came from a barn outside of Herman, Missouri? Just look at that. I mean, it's pretty interesting. And it was a wall box. Yeah, what you pointing at?
One in the middle. Yeah.
That's right. You get the prize.
Yeah.
And this one here is very, very early, super early. And it's got a unique little metal thing right here. Don't ask me what it's for, because I don't know. Maybe it had a screwdriver. Maybe hung keys on it. But it's just got a little bitty extra piece of iron there. And that actually came out of a barn outside of Herman. So that's kind of cool. That's from Gasconade County. The magazines that are distributed across the tables, all of the magazines have pictures of these items. And even though in the wall boxes, I've never personally ever paid more than $400 for one, and you're thinking, my God, $400. I haven't paid more than $400. In those magazines, you're going to see them for $2,000, $5,000, depending on the state they're from and the provenance behind the wall box. And they are just, you would not tell a difference from this one and one that they're asking $5,000 for. It's just that they knew who made it. They got the provenance of the family. And it's like, when you flip through there, it's like, my goodness. And even with the knife trays and the utility trays, same thing. Let me see. Oh, this here little beauty. I like this one. It's got black paint out, which is unusual. Very early, as you can tell, square nail. It's got what they call snipe hinges up here. So this lid raises, and it's got snipe hinges that holds the lid down. And I like that little box too, because it's very unusual. My collection that's in my home, I probably have 50, and they're all over my walls in different areas, but I don't have two alike because there was never two made. So it's just kind of cool that way. My husband encouraged me to bring what's called a dove box today. I didn't bring it, kind of wish I did, because it was actually for the bird to nest in, and that's why it was called a dove box. Maybe next time, who knows? If I'm invited back, who knows? I think that's about all I got today. Any questions on what I got out here? You can see that this little lady, she had a colorful home because she put lime green paint on hers, and this paint would have been original to the utility tray, and the detail in the handle is just phenomenal. I just love everything about this little box. And I got these setting up on top of something that I'm not going to talk about today. These are set up on cricket benches. So maybe another story, another day, but that's what they're called, cricket benches.
Why?
I ain't gonna tell you today. That's for the next time. And the only other thing that, and I bet somebody's gonna know what this is, so don't guess it right away. My husband asked me to bring what is it item. Somebody might know. It's hand forged iron. They've almost all the early homes in the 17 and 1800s would have these in their home. And no, it's not to fix pigs with, because huh?
To pull teeth or?
So that big in your mouth.
Nope. Nope. Very sharp.
Wick
Cutter. It's actually called sugar nippers. Back in the day, they didn't have sugar in a bowl. When sugar was a very high commodity. So they actually mixed it with a paste, and they would be in the form of a cone, for lack of better words. And they would actually scrape the sugar off that cone into whatever they were using it. And the reason they did that is because sugar was a very high commodity. Everyone could not afford sugar, but they definitely made sure that their sugar lasted for a really long time. So that's kind of interesting. So that's why I brought that today. Anybody got any questions for me? Yes.
So you mentioned the Herman one. I'm assuming that might have been German settlers.
Correct. Uh-huh.
Would other settlers have made these Scandinavian? Like who made all this?
England, you name it, they would have. And actually, there's probably a lot of barns in Missouri that have wall boxes hanging into them, the more primitive sort. I was never, like my grandma and grandpa, I never seen any of these in their houses. So in Missouri, a lot of this stuff, you just didn't see a whole lot of it, unless it was burnt, I don't know, which would be just devastating, wouldn't it? But other than that, yeah, they would have been made. A lot of other countries, of course, made them. Some of the magazines that you look at, you'll see some from England, but a lot of them were in the U.S. The ones that are real coveted are the ones from the New England states, and they are the ones that bring the high dollar, obviously. I have a couple pieces at home that are from Maine, and I really do like them because of the state that they came from, but this one here, to me, looks more like it would have been a Missouri piece because of how it's made. And, it's kind of funny because these farmhouses that are tore down, you just hope that people really go in and go through them to make sure there's not something hanging on a wall or whatever that maybe should be taken out and preserved, because they don't make them anymore.
Well, would the farmer make it? Would they make their own?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. That one from Herman, guarantee you that gentleman made it. Most all of these, nobody, like, you didn't go to the furniture store and buy them. It would have been Dad or somebody in his family that was a woodworker that would make the utensil boxes or the knife trays or whatever. And they made them to design for their family. Bigger the family, the bigger they're going to be. Let's face it. So, that the English knife boxes, like these here in the front, those would have been the one that came to, that would have been mostly used in the U.S. probably by the 18th century. So, but again, we are a True Blue antique store. I'll give you a little information about this show that we're doing. So I used to have the show on my property outside of V out of Owensville. We had it for, I think, 9 or 10 years. And anyway, we sold our property, haven't had the show for 2 or 3 years, and we were going to have it out at Bay, Missouri. And then, of course, the devastating fire hit, and I did not know if the building was going to be ready for us. And then we found out from Dennis, hey, why don't you ask the the fair board, see when that, the building was going to be done. And so this is our show, and it's going to be the 18th in the evening, and there's going to be wine and hors d'oeuvres served from 4 to 7, and then it's all day on that Saturday. And to give you a little history of the vendors that are coming, very high-end vendors. We got one of the vendors is coming from the state of New York. We have vendors coming from Tennessee, Iowa, Ohio, Nebraska. So this is going to be a very, very huge event for Owensville, Missouri. It's going to bring a lot of people our direction. And I post a lot on my Facebook page as my main source of advertising. But each one of these dealers and vendors that are coming, they are going to be promoting it on their Facebook. So it's a big network of people that's going to be knowing that this is happening. But whatever you folks can do to spread the word and let everybody know that something very unique is going to be happening, that would be fantastic.
Maxine, would you tell us again the date and the time?
It's the actually there's cards out there and up here that people can take.
Okay.
And it's the 18th, 4 to 7, the 19th, and the 19th, which is 9 to 3.
What month?
September.
September.
Yep, beautiful month, so it should be wonderful. Weather should be good. And other than that, anybody got any questions for me? Yes, lovely lady.
Are you free to tell what farm the one from outside of Herman came from?
No.
I was afraid of that.
Would that mustard one been of German origin?
No, actually this came from Pennsylvania. Yeah, and the deep mustard, I love that deep mustard paint on it, and the green. I just think it's such a nice detail. But anyway, Mama was proud of this one, but it's heavy. This one hangs downstairs in my house. So, and even the detail of the blossom, how unique that would have been to be able to carve something like that in there. So, and you know how us women are. We like to have our own little special things at our houses. So, unfortunately, we don't have this kind of stuff hanging around anymore, do we? Yes?
Why would you not have a handle in that one? Do you have any idea?
Isn't that something? I have no idea. Because it's going to be harder to carry, obviously.
Right, yeah.
And I don't know if the wood wouldn't be too hard because this feels like pine to me. So it's just the maker of it.
One hand's for
Yeah. So it's good question, but not a good answer. I don't have one.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yes?
What's the most expensive one you've ever seen?
Probably at a show, actually, in Arthur, Illinois. My husband and I set up at 9 different shows, and the most expensive one I've ever seen was like $3,900. And again, it's nothing that you just would not tell a difference from the ones I got. And unfortunately, it's like most things. Once I started collecting, the prices started going up. And my husband is in the old metal signs for advertising. And when he started collecting them, it's like, wow, we can afford this. And then all of a sudden it turns around and you can't even buy them anymore. So, but that's in person is, I would say, like $3,900. And it's like, I looked at that and I looked at my husband, I said, I hope my daughters know what I have hanging on my walls at home, because they just need to know that. And most of our stuff, and this is kind of a joke on Ron and I, but most of our items in our house, there's a tag on it somewhere, because we want the kids to know at least what we paid for it, if not what it's worth. And another little story, I asked my grandsons one day, if you kids want something, or because they help me a lot at the shows, if there's something that you want, tell Grandma and Grandpa now, and we'll put your name on it. And one of my grandsons looked at me for a long time and said, well, Grandma, I only want one thing. I said, what's that? He says, I want your inventory book. so smart kid, right? That way he knew what Grandma paid for it and what Grandma thought it should bring, and he was covered. So anyway, thank you for inviting me, Phyllis.
I was just wondering, did you get most of your items like at shows and stuff, or do you go into auctions or go into houses and look for them?
Sometimes we do get to go on picking parties. Sometimes I'll get a call from somebody and they'll say, come on out, and I want you to look at some stuff. I think I did get a couple wall boxes that way. Most of our wall boxes would have been purchased at a antique mall, a true antique mall, or a antique shop. Probably dominantly the most of them have been bought at shows that we attend.
So you don't have to, I mean, when you get them, they're in good shape.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You don't have to do
Yeah, my husband and I
anything.
we buy ready. We don't refinish, we don't repair, we don't do anything like that. In this one here, actually, I noticed as I was bringing here today, it even needs a little TLC right here. It's got a little crack in it. But you know what? It has survived this long, and it's just pretty, and so be it. But no, we don't, even on our furniture, we never refinish anything. And one of the most desired finishes now is paint. And when I say paint, I mean the original paint that was on the product. And unfortunately, there's a lot of forgers out there now that can really do a good job on making new paint look old. So you have to really have the keen eye, because you don't want to be passing off something new for old. But anyway, any other questions? Okay.